Hey, they still got your jerseys and all the Buffalo Wild Wings in Utah.
I'm gonna start charging them now.
All right, here we go.
Name and likeness money.
We're
what's all that fake handwriting in the back, Sly? Like what? He's trying to make yourself.
Man, I had the kids over here.
Look educated.
Oh man, it's art session on Sundays at Sly House, so we had to be on the way.
All right, we are live now here with the Great Ute Debate, and as you guys could already tell, this is what a little bit of a snippet of what this broadcast is going to be like. Welcome into the Great Ute Debate, 2004 versus 2008. It is presented by University Federal Credit Union. I am your host, moderator, trying to keep things clean around here, Trevor Allen. I am with KSL Sports. I'm the Ute Insider, and I am so excited to bring you guys this broadcast. It's something that Sly was really the backbone for it, but really a team effort for this. And let's just go ahead and bring in who is joining us today. You guys probably already know these guys, but I'll bring them in anyway. So from the 2004 team, he was a running back for that team, had 109 carries for 654 yards and 2 touchdowns.
How many touchdowns?
He was a Mountain West Conference honorable mention and also a All Mountain West Conference second team in 2005. Spent 5 years in the NFL. Quinton Ganther. Q, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up? Glad to be here.
That's my teammate.
And then his teammate who's clapping right now. He is a guy who will for sure be in Canton, Ohio, in years to come. He was an All-American at Utah, 2-time Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year, played 13 seasons in the NFL, just retired, and now a homeschool teacher, right, Eric Weddle?
Yeah, just trying to get through the day and just trying to be great, man.
Stacking that resume, boy.
And then from the 2008 team, he threw for 2,972 yards, 27 touchdowns, 9 picks in 2008. Was the Mountain West Conference Offensive Player of the Year, first team selection, and the Sugar Bowl MVP quarterback, Brian Johnson. BJ, how's it going?
What's up, man? Appreciate you for having me on.
And then last but certainly not least, his teammate who anchored that defense in 2008 had 69 tackles, 3 sacks. By the way, he actually had 3.5 sacks. 3 of those sacks came against Alabama. Had 2 forced fumbles in 2008. Second team All Mountain West. Played 5 seasons in the NFL.
The rest of the season, he really didn't.
They didn't do much.
He really didn't do much.
Okay. That blitz.
It makes sense.
That's what happened.
So anchoring the defense, Stevenson Sylvester. Sly, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. It's going good. Thanks for putting this together, Trev.
All right, you guys. Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right, first off.
Talk about it for too long. Let's go, Eric.
So first off, I'm just going to ask you guys right now, because if the answers are what I think it's going to be, then we'll keep going. If it's different, then we're just going to end this thing. Which Utah football team is the greatest of all time?
08.
04.
Okay. BJ, you're on both teams. Which one?
2008.
All right.
I was on both teams.
So I guess we're gonna continue on. All right. Tell me one memory of your guys' season, 2004, 2008, whichever one you were on, and that we wouldn't know about from just watching those football teams. Let's go ahead and start with Q.
Memory that you guys wouldn't know that was the hardest training camp I've ever been a part of in my life. It had me second guessing football.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, why?
I was coming from a junior college, so I had no idea what training camp was. So this was my first training camp ever. And it was brutal. It was physical, but well worth it.
All right, let's go with BJ.
Man, it's a bunch of great memories. I probably say like from the games, one of the games itself is the last drive against TCU. It's something that kind of just sticks out of my mind. The 4th and 5, outcut the Freddie Brown to keep the drive alive and go beat the number 10 team in the country at home. That was something that was really special. And just off the field, we just had such a tight bond. And like I said, I enjoyed my entire collegiate experience, but just being able to build some of those relationships with people that last a lifetime, that's really special.
All right, Sly.
Yeah, I think a lot of the same. There was a lot to be taken away from that whole season. Each play, each game, it was different. It was close games. We had blowouts. But what was consistent is our preparation and how we entered each game. It felt like every single week was the same. So we knew that we were going to have the same output and performance, especially in the Sugar Bowl. We were just so locked in and prepared that, it's just like BJ said, just the camaraderie with that team, even off the field was huge. And so I think that's why we were successful in the end. And, now we're having this debate.
All right, Eric.
Geez. Like everyone said, I just think all of us have one thing in common, amongst other things, is just wanting to prove ourselves. And I can go on and on about just ruffling older guys' feathers, just doing things my way and trying to compete at all times. And that's what separates the good and the great ones. And the way we competed, the way we got after it in practice, it accumulated into success on the field. But that brotherhood and that bond, I mean, look at us, like we're still as close as ever, and we're all parts of the country. But the minute we text each other or call each other, we pick up right away. And that's what really ultimately the game has brought to us, is the relationships and the friendships that'll last a lifetime, is because the camps that Q talked about, the struggles of that, the season, the ups and downs, the wins and losses, the close losses, the huge wins, like those things nobody can understand unless you were in there in the fire with each other. So it's an amazing time watching the highlights. It brings back a lot of memories for sure.
All right, yeah, those are all great answers. Now, my next question, I'm gonna pair these up by your guys' teams. So we'll start with the 2008 team and Brian Johnson. When did you know that the 2008 Utes was going to have a special season? When was that moment where you're like, this is going to be a special season for Utah football?
I think we all kind of knew it in training camp. Leading from it was a and I think this is kind of a similar case in both teams, is that it was really a 2-year process. Just with the way that we had finished the previous year, we had dealt with a bunch of injuries and lost like 7 starters in the 2007 season. And everybody came back and we were healthy and we knew we were really deep, and had a ton of experience back and playmakers. So, just in training camp, the battles between, our offense and defense, it was so evenly matched and so back and forth each and every practice. And practices got so competitive, between the offense and the defense, because, both sides of the ball were really evenly matched in terms of having playmakers and experience and things like that. So once we got through training camp, I think everybody kind of expected us to have a really, really good team. And, we were fortunate enough to get off to a great start and go beat Michigan in the big house in an unbelievable environment, 110,000 people. And we kind of answered that challenge, and then, got the ball rolling.
Sly, what would you say was the moment that you realized that team was going to be special?
I'm with BJ. It was in the off season. I thought it was even before training camp. Kind of at the end of the 2007 season, we kind of looked at how many guys left, what we had left over, and how we were training in that spring season. It was I knew then that we had the opportunity to be undefeated. That was the goal each and every year, of course. But as far as in actuality, I knew that was even before training camp, that we had that chance and we had the commitment. And then, as BJ said, once we got into training camp, you saw how in tune everybody was. That's how we automatically knew that, there's absolutely no reason why we should lose.
All right, I'll ask the same question for the guys who played in 2004. We'll start with Quinton Ganther. When did you feel like you guys were going to have a special season?
For me, it was a little different. Weddle was there already. They had been there. Me, I was just coming in trying to contribute and make a stamp. So I was coming from junior college, so I didn't know what I was actually looking for, what I was actually getting myself into. I was just trying to be the person I was too busy worried about myself trying to get on the field. When I came into training camp, I was like the 5th running back on the roster. So I wasn't worried about how special it would be. I was worried about, okay, how am I going to chip away at being able to contribute on this football team? So that was for me. Even when we beat BYU and everyone was so excited about going to the Fiesta Bowl, I was an inner city kid. I was lost. I had no idea what was the big deal. I didn't know it was a BCS football game. Like I said, I was just trying to, get myself in the door to make a contribution.
All right, Eric.
I think early on, the success we had in 2003, we channeled that into the offseason and into that 2004 year. I didn't think we'd lose. So I think it probably came from that 2003 season and finishing off in the bowl against Southern Miss. And I think it really gave everyone the confidence in the idea that we could do something special. And we just carried it over. We had a lot of guys that played a lot of football. We were a veteran-laden team at that time and kind of led the way.
All right, guys. What was your favorite play from that season that you made? I know you guys have plenty to pick from, and you guys can even give me a couple of plays. Yeah, Sly. We could talk about your sack against Alabama, where you had that awesome dance or celebration that you had against Alabama.
Can you do that for us right now? Relive the moment.
Do it right now.
Oh gosh, it's probably his wallpaper on his phone.
All right. No, my favorite play from that season probably had to be TCU. It just that last drive after BJ and Freddie connected in the end zone, we took the lead. TCU had like less than a minute left. I had an interception in my hand and I dropped it. I thought that was my favorite play simply because, Robert Johnson ended up making it, but like we were just there. Like, I don't know if outside you could feel the intensity and emotion that was in that game. I know we were number 10 and 11 in the country, but it really felt like a top 5 matchup. TCU was a powerhouse. They were strong as crap. And just to know how we were, that whole last drive was probably the best feeling to end it all, and just reliving that game of how it went between the couple of sacks that we had and the back and forth atmosphere of that game. I like tight games like that because the psychology of football really comes out. It's like playing chess and who made the right decisions win. So that TCU game, that last drive of that TCU game was probably the best for me.
All right, let's go with Quinton. What was your favorite play from the 2004 season?
One of my favorite plays was a run that I had against Air Force. It was special to me because I wasn't getting a lot of playing time at the beginning of the game because Marty was getting a lot of playing time, and in my opinion, I felt like I was a much better back at the time. And you know what? They gave me a play. I got my first or second carry, and I ran like 3 guys over and just kept going, just a statement like, "Hey, I'm here. Don't forget about me." So that was one of my favorite plays because I was making a statement like, "Hey, I'm the guy. I'm really the guy." So that stood out to me because I was always fighting.
All right,
Eric. That run against BYU and you killed that kid. That's
man, you ran him smooth over.
That was 05.
That was the next year though. Huh?
Was it? Oh,
that was the next year. Yeah.
Those games, all the wins, they wrap together. We've had so many.
All the wins.
For me, it wasn't a play that I made, but it was against BYU, and it was a tight, close, somewhat close game. And it was when they did the option to the right, and he pitched it to Savoy.
98 yards to survive.
Right up the sideline, and that kind of like, I don't remember what point of the game it was, but it just
on X hop 8 speed.
There you go. Goodness. See, so
the whole playbook.
Yeah,
I called that. I told him to run it.
So just seeing that play and then the emotion, you could finally like come down a second, feel the energy from the fans, and you kind of knew we were on the way to breaking the BCS. So that was a play that stuck out for me from that game and that season, because we didn't have really many close games. So no really strenuous pressure-packed moments other than, first half close game against BYU, and then it was a wrap from there.
All right, BJ, it sounds like you've got plenty of plays to pick from since you know the entire playbook and what was called.
Many.
What was your favorite play from that 2008 season?
It's hard to break down just like to one play, but I'll break down a moment. And probably the one of the best moment was at Air Force in 2008. We played at Air Force, and we did not play well in the first half. I didn't play well in particular at all in the first half. And we came out of halftime, and then we went on a run that second half. And it's like 8 for 9, 9 for 9, something like that. And really did miss and got into a great groove. And we ran an option play to the left for the game winner, like out of a goal line set. And just like pitching it blind to D-Mac because the DN ran straight up the field. And so I was able to kind of get underneath him and pitch it to D-Mac for the game winner. That was cool just because those Air Force games were always like just really physical and really tough. And just you never knew how games like that against an option team would manifest because you were just so limited in how many possessions you potentially got. So that was a really cool moment. And then the other one is probably, my favorite just technical play was we threw like a post-wheel combination against Alabama. Against the look that we practiced, you had press on one, off on two, and we just tried to inside release it and create a pick. And the DB ran over the top, and I ripped the back shoulder seam. And this was, when people first started probably throwing back shoulder fades and stuff like that. So I threw kind of a back shoulder to Braden Godfrey on a wheel route for our second touchdown. And that play probably sticks out just from a technical standpoint because it's something that we kind of worked on and just developed throughout the course of the years, being able to throw that type of ball.
I thought you was going to talk about Oregon State, to come back against Oregon State, how you orchestrated that. That was a moment.
I kind of that one how we went to
No, but that's the debate of all these comebacks. We ain't had these issues.
Bro,
I was actually going to bring that up.
Every team y'all didn't play a team that had less than 5 losses.
I don't remember. We just played who was on the schedule.
And that was funny.
Every team. Oh man, don't get me started on that.
Well,
everybody, the best team we beat in 2004 had 7 wins, bro.
Who was that?
Well, so I will say that the whole difference, playing the Falcons, you guys can both teams can talk about this because the team that Weddle and Quinton played on, you guys dominated every single team. You won every single game by at least 2 touchdowns. The smallest margin of victory was against the Falcons, where you guys only won by 2 touchdowns. You guys only won by 7 in 2008. What was it about the Air Force teams that was so hard to get by? I guess I'll open it up to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, they're so unconventional to what you play all season. So you're trying to get ready to go over a different scheme, defensively, different rules for one game, and you're practicing for 3 practices and going against the speed of the scout team that half of them don't know what they're doing, and you're trying to remember what your 3 rules are on 3 plays that we have, and it's just an adjustment. And then conversely, on offense, you may not you get 12 to 15 possessions, maybe more in college. I don't know, but now you're looking at 10 or 8 against the Air Force. Like, that's the discrepancy because they hold the ball for so long that if you don't make your drives count on offense, and you can get put in a hole big time, and it's tough to come back.
No question.
And part of it too is technically, how do you, as a coach, how do you want to play that game, or how do what's your strategy? Because there's really 2 schools of thought in terms of how you play them offensively, and knowing that you're going to get limited possessions. Do you want to go fast and try to light it up, or do you want to control the tempo and, try to get your defense rest? And I think you see that play out just anytime you play an option team with your possessions being so limited. How do you initially, how do you want to strategize against being limited in your possessions?
Sly Q, would you guys like to add to that?
For me, playing against Air Force, it's they're military schools, so they're just so disciplined in what they do. So that means that we just can't have a mistake. You take a wrong step, you go right instead of going left, you're beat, and they can change that whole. Quinton knows how you give them a little bit of space. I squeeze through that, and the Air Force guys, they're tiny, tough, and if they get. They're the best in the country at what they do, average 350 plus rushing yards per game. So it's somebody knows and so that's just what they did, and they're tough no matter what.
Yeah,
they were.
Just like what we were always, the Utah way. We were always built on toughness. One of Coach Wick's deal is don't be a tough dummy. Don't be a tough. So we were built tough. So that's kind of what, got us through a lot of games. And sometimes we're tough to the point that we'll have teams, they'll tap out, they'll quit. But with Air Force, in the academy, those guys are built off of toughness and discipline as well. So there's never any quitting those guys. And like these guys said, the limited possessions that you have in those games as an offense, you can't put your defense in bad situations going 3 and outs. So, it's tricky on how you want to attack their defenses because you put your defense in a hole by going 3 and outs.
All right. So I have a question that is just pointed towards Eric and a Q. I know some people out there, felt like that you guys got gypped by who you guys had to play in that bowl game playing Pitt, compared to what Sly and BJ had to play in that Sugar Bowl. Did you guys feel slighted at all, or were you guys just more worried about just going out there and dominating and trying to bust the BCS?
Yeah, I mean, we were hoping for Auburn at that time.
Yeah,
because USC played Oklahoma, I think.
Yep. And
then so there were 3 undefeated teams, and it didn't work out that it happened that way. So we were a little bit so excited just to get there and to finish it off. But that is the ultimate factor in a lot of these arguments, that they did play better teams, and you can't deny that. Everyone on our schedule, but when it comes down to it, like their resume looks a little bit better than ours.
Hugh, did you feel a little slighted when you guys had to play Pitt, or were you just focused on the task at hand?
Well, I mean, we wanted to play Auburn. That's what we wanted, because we wanted to make a statement to the country. So we were up for that challenge. That was one thing about that team, is we wanted the best, and we felt like Auburn was the best, one of the best teams in the country. We didn't feel like Pitt was one of the best. So we just made it our thing that, okay, since we got Pitt, we can't control it. We'll go out and show that these guys shouldn't be on the same field as us. And that's what we did. We made it personal to make a statement like, you should not have sent these guys here. They're not ready.
And you guys definitely did put that statement out there. Now, something I want to ask you that is a little off topic from your guys' playing days in college, but playing in the National Football League. Something that had someone brought this up to me, and I thought it was a pretty good point about the longevity of the Utah football players playing in the NFL. You see a lot of the Mountain West guys of what you guys played in staying in the league for years and years, like Eric, for over a decade, and a lot of you guys playing at least 5 years and things like that. But then you're seeing these Pac-12 guys from Utah getting drafted, but they're not sticking in the league as long as the Mountain West guys have it. Do you guys see anything with that, or is it just the way the league is now?
Man, you don't want me to be honest.
I know what you about to say. Hey, these kids nowadays is pampered. He's talking about the training camp that he went through. They don't go through the same training camp they used to.
It was, oh man, I'll let one of them go.
I'll put it in terms for Q. It was different for us back in the day with training camp, with how hard practices were. I mean, imagine doing 2 padded practices every day for 6 days straight, where now you can only go 1 padded practice a day, and then you can only practice twice every other day. So I don't even think that last year we would just be once a day with a walkthrough.
It was no 2-a-days now.
No 2-a-days. No.
Yeah. So it's I don't really know compared to other teams. I just know, like, for us and the Utes, like how we train and how we're kind of wired, like we're just ready to go rock when we get in the league. Like we're not scared, we're not intimidated. We feel like we're prepared physically and mentally. So the schemes that we run, I feel like we're ahead of the curve, acclimating to the NFL, because we run a defensive scheme with terminology, with what we're doing schematically and offensively. I mean, obviously we're ahead of the curve at that time, way back when. It's obviously taken to another step, but 15 years later. But I just think it was just a different era, and the amount of hitting and practicing you do back then, you're preparing yourself for car accidents every time you hit. So if you're not preparing your body for that, your likelihood to get injured more often. So I'm sure a study will come out, the pre-CBA, after CBA, and moving forward.
And I know something that stick out to me is how these guys are treated now. These guys feel entitled to everything. Yeah. That building that they walk in every day, we built that building, and they feel like they deserve this. They got big cafeterias. They get to get 2-3 meals a day. Yeah. I remember a time. No, this is serious. I remember a time when Weddle wouldn't get meals because he preferred to have more money in his check so that he can take care of him and his woman. You know what I'm saying? So he deferred to give his meals away. Now these guys are getting big checks. They're getting fed as much as they want to, and they feel like just because they're there, this is what they're supposed to get. Nothing is earned anymore.
Yeah. I mean, to piggyback off that, like, it's the whole thought of like a scholarship coming out of high school was like that's like the dream come true. Like, never thought that I'm playing football because I got a scholarship to pay for my education. That $40,000 a year, like, where's that going to come from? I get to go to school for football. So I think kids nowadays, that they're getting put on TV in high school and all this other stuff, that they get to college and they're like, I'm the man. Like, this is what it is. I should get paid. I need to do this. I need to do that. It's like, whoa. Like, let's settle down here a second. Like, the game is special. Like, you have to work for it. You have to do the things necessary to be successful. And I don't know, the times have changed, but that's the way it is now. So it's up to us old guys to change more so than everybody else.
Story time with Weddle. I love it.
Yeah, hey, keep it going.
Gotta give a shout out to Marquise and Mike Wright. What's up, guys?
Yeah, I was gonna ask Sly if you actually saw the comment, because I noticed as Weddle was talking, Sly had like that look like, how dare you? Because he says, dang, Sly needs to shave, quarantine doing him dirty.
What is that?
Yeah, can we see the comments on this thing or no?
The live comments. You just put
right. Mikey, right.
That one right there.
There you go.
You guys.
Hey, man. Ain't nobody want to talk about Q. Q looks just like you.
But no, and by the way, for those who are watching out here, submit your questions in the comments below, because we do have a Q&A for these guys after the other stuff we're going to be going through. So put in your questions, fill them up, because during this quarantine, I know Eric, Sly, and Q don't have much going on, but BJ says he does, but Sly says he doesn't. So I'm not sure who to really believe here.
He flies. I wish Big Con was here right now. He tell me.
Man, my dog Big Con.
So all right. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring up some snares. We're really gonna dive into the nitty gritty of X's and O's of how good teams were and how they would stack up from 2004 against 2008. And so we're gonna play some scenarios. We're gonna do one each from offense and defense of each team. And then we'll have the guy from that team talk about the style, formation, or whatever it is, and then the opposite side of the ball from the opposite team will then tell us how that side of the ball would attack them. So, for
Hey,
instance,
Con in the building.
Connor.
Yeah, he is. He said he in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. So we'll go ahead and start with a play that happened in 2004 against BYU. Q, it was 2nd and 4 at your guys' own 29-yard line. You guys were up 21-14 with 14-16 left in the third quarter. Talk about the formation that is right here.
Okay, right here we're in a pony set, which is
20
personnel group. Well, we call it 20, but we called it pony back then.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I was just thinking is, okay, we have numbers here. So I was just trying to make sure we converted this. And if I didn't convert this, I knew they were going to take me out the game. So, all the way in this look.
All right. So, Maddie, go ahead and hit it. It does lag a little bit, so bear with us here. So he's coming up the middle and just breaks away. So as that play is happening, I will now turn it over to Sly. Maddie, can you go back to the very beginning on that one? Just to the pre-snap. And then Sly, since it's a 2004 offensive play, I'll turn it over to the 2008 defense. What would you guys come out in that 2nd and 4, deep in your guys' zone, or pinning them deep, and then just early second half?
We're in their territory. They have the lead. We would definitely be a nickel man right here. So RJ would be down, manned up on the slot. We would show a 2 shell and have Joe Dale come down into the box. We play 3-on-2 with the backs. So it'd be me, Mike Wright, and Joe Dale going 3-on-2 with the backs. But they're in a triple option look, and we know Q doesn't do the speed option. So he's definitely going to be the handout guy. So it's going to be triple option to the boundary. And so I would tell that DN to chase down because they're going to be optioning that DN. So I'd have him take Q as that tackle comes down, and then I would play the quarterback, and then either Mike Wright or Joe Dale would come over the top to play the speed option. That's how we would do it. We would river and lake away from the running away from Q, which means the 3 technique will be on the left side away from Q. So it would stop that penetration up front, and we'll just see how it plays out.
All right, so that would be how you would attack, especially because it looked like Q had an open hole here as you look right there, and then just ended up breaking through, broke a tackle, and just couldn't quite get it to the end zone. But I think it was like a 60-something yard run.
I was slow then.
Yeah.
So there's that play. So that's how the Stevenson Sylvester defense would attack that. Now let's move over to a play on offense from 2008. We'll have Maddie switch over to that, so this will be for Brian Johnson to talk about the formation. This is in the Sugar Bowl against Alabama, and you guys had the ball. It was 3rd and 10 at the Alabama 28-yard line. Utah was up 21-17 with about 10 minutes left in that third quarter. So, Maddie, go head back to the pre-snap. There we go. So, Brian, walk us through this play here.
All right. So this was I think we ran like triple slant down to the bottom of the screen right here, and maybe like a clear and a 6-yard out to the top. But this is we're in empty formation, and Alabama was a big bracket team, outside leverage. So looked like they got us in like a 5 down, like a bear look where we're gonna block 5, but they pop out a backer to try to rob an underneath player. And this was one they were playing off coverage outside, and we knew Alabama a lot of the times. You see us hit actually a couple balls to field one, because in college football, if the ball's on the hard hash, with it being on the right hash here, the ball doesn't usually get thrown out to field one very often. So you can catch some guys sleeping every once in a while. So we got 3 in-breaking routes to the bottom of the screen. And obviously the inside 2 collapse. And so we're one-on-one with David, and I put it on him. He makes a great catch, spins out of the tackle, and he just has to beat the free safety for a touchdown.
Okay, so Maddie, I'm going to have you keep it paused for a minute, and then I'm going to turn it over to Eric Weddle to talk about how the 2004 defense would attack this set.
I mean, there's a lot of schools of thought going against a spread team. I mean, we didn't back then. We didn't have many teams that spread it out like this, so this would be a little unconventional at the time for us. We would either sit back in zone or bring pressure like a zero like this. If it was me personally, I mean, it's hard to tell because I got NFL stuff on my mind that I would run. But game planning, if we were game planning against BJ, it would make them throw outside and vertical routes, and we would try to take inside the numbers, take the throws away inside the numbers and in the hash in the middle of the field, and make them beat us on the outside. So if they came out in this, I'd probably have a check of maybe just a low hole post player man, outside leverage, press it up. They'd have to learn the picks. But if not, a simulated pressure to get a free guy, but you're still playing 7. You're still dropping 7 in coverage, so you don't have those gaping holes with a pressure look. So it would be a challenge, I'm not going to lie, because a lot of teams weren't doing this in our year.
All right, Maddie, hit it. So here's what happens. Sliding just a little bit, but
clear out.
It is just that David Reed touchdown.
Yeah, just a slant, broke the tackle.
Why did you throw to the outside shoulder here? Did you see that corner?
Yeah, because I mean they were playing outside, like they were playing off and inside leverage.
Mm-hmm.
So for them earlier in the game, in the first drive of this game, we threw a go route to David out of the same formation. It wasn't the same formation, but he was field 1, and we threw a go route to him. He caught it on like the 3-yard line. But he's playing kind of off and inside looking at the quarterback. So he's getting ready to drive on the ball. So if you put that ball on his front shoulder, the DB has a much better angle to make a play on the ball. But if he put it on his back shoulder, if he's going to drive the front shoulder of the receiver, then you got a chance to kind of pull him up, right, and put the ball away from the coverage so he can get a chance to run after or spin out. Okay,
so now we have moving on to our third play. In 2004, a play on defense. Eric, go ahead now. As soon as we go back, yep, there we go. All right, talk us through what you guys are in right now, formation wise.
Yeah, we're just playing. We're up 10, middle of the third. We're not worried. Our front was really stout against the run, so we played a lot of 2-shell quarters and cover 2 looks, and that's what we're in right here, jamming the outside guys, playing cover 2 on the back end. And yeah, I mean, we have the lead, so the thought right now is keep everything in front of us. We know the young quarterback isn't going to beat us with his arm, so make the plays up the field.
Okay, and then Brian Johnson, how would you guys attack this on offense, especially with this being 1st and 10, middle of the third, and you guys are down 10?
Well, I mean, you have a bunch of different ways you can attack it. But you just see it's just a simple, a 4-2 shell playing some sort of split safety coverage. To me, I think the biggest thing, the strength of our team, like Eric said, was our intermediate passing game and just finding a way to create matchups. So for us, I don't know if that's Spence or if that's Hack playing Mike linebacker right there. But
Spence.
Anytime I think for us. Anytime you can just create a matchup where we get our H on that Mike linebacker and split safety defense, so he's covering
ISO routes
Steele, or he's covering Braden Godfrey, and you just get a chance to isolate that Mike backer on the number 3 receiver and just work kind of option routes all day. If they stay split safety in the pass game, and obviously you would have numbers in the box to run it here if you got any kind of zone scheme to the left, and you're counting on that either boundary safety to come down in the B gap weak support or the corner to play some, potential corner blitz off of that shell. But this is just a different era of football. Like you said, people weren't spreading it out much. And, It wasn't very like matchup zones now. Like you see defenses kind of have more man principles to them in terms of their zone coverage. So this is what we call like wooden Indian cover 2, where like the corners jam and stay in the flat forever, and they not, you know. So it's just a different era of ball. But we would just try to isolate that Mike backer on the inside receiver.
So, all right, Maddie, I'll go ahead and have you play it, and then Eric, I'm going to have you walk us through the play, because this was a little bit of a trick play that ended up going wrong.
Definitely a trick play. Yeah, I mean, I'm backside cover 2 player, and we always tell the safeties and be coached. And when I'm telling the young guys that if you're a zone player and you're not breaking on the ball or following the ball with your eyes, then you're wrong. And so when I saw the bubble throw, I immediately started running across the field. Then I peeked at the X receiver as I was running and saw he did a double move on the outside. And Morgan was in good position, so he wasn't even open. It was a terrible decision, and it was underthrown. And it was you got to make those plays, man. Big time players make big time plays in big games.
Right.
Yes, sir.
How easy was it for you, as far as your job, to have Morgan alongside you in that secondary?
It was great. I mean, I played corner my freshman year, and then to make that transition and have a guy that had started the year before and just a veteran, the leader of the team, and really helped me out and took me under his wings and took care of me and helped me along the way. It made life easy for me. I mean, I was just out there balling and playing and not really worried about anything else outside of the game. But I mean, you look at it like senior, Hackerbrook was a senior, Ledbetter was a senior, like Bo was a senior. Like, I think, 8, 9, 10 guys were seniors on that team that were starters. So
Led was senior there.
What's that?
Led
was you cut out. I didn't hear you.
I said Led was a junior. Led was supposed to come.
Oh, did he end up coming out? I can't remember what happened.
No, he didn't come out. Remember, he tore his. Remember, we had the trench coat, and he tore his heel that summer.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And then he never played. He never didn't play anymore. It was a much easier transition for me as a young guy just to go in there and play and not think, and ultimately grow into the role that I ended up being later on.
So, Sly, I want to bring something up, because it looks like Mike Wright's kind of going after you a little bit here. He's saying on this comment right here, Sly would have decided to make something up here and make me cover that single back.
Hey, do your job, Mike. Do your job.
But
inspired me to start blitzing. When I felt it, I do it. So I learned a lot from my freshman year.
Okay, now we're on our last play, and I think the after the play was probably the best thing of this play. But so Sly, go ahead and walk us through what's going on here. You guys have Alabama at 3rd and 14 at their 34-yard line. It's 0-0. It's early on in the game. 13-10 left in the first.
Right. So this is the first drive of the game. This is what we do. What we found out, especially after the TCU game, our sub package. When we get teams in 3rd and long, we are really dangerous, especially with the different things we can do. We're so versatile. You don't know exactly where the blitz is coming from. So what we did here is like a cover 8 5-man blitz. Just playing inside with Joe Dale and Mike Wright on the 3rd and 4th receiver, and then locking up on the boundary side so Robert Johnson could cheat more to the field to help out vertical routes with Julio Jones. I just came off the edge. We were very dangerous. What I told Paul Kruger was delay. So I kind of had him delay on the tackle a little bit, so the tackle hesitated for just a second. And then I timed the snap count. I was looking down at the play clock. I saw it was coming down, so there's no faking hut here. It's going. So I just looked at the ball. I saw the center's hands get a little tight, like he was about to snap it. And I think the thing that got me here was I timed it better than the offensive lineman did. And so I got a quick jump off the ball, and when I got up to about 5.5, 6 yards, I just cut it really hard. And next you know, John Parker Wilson was right in my lap.
All right, so Q, how would you guys have this? How would you guys attack this on offense?
Well, right here, If we were facing 3rd and 14, I'm pretty sure we would be in some sort of empty set and run some type of 4 verticals with having a bender come from the field to try to create a hole here because they're playing such off coverage. Now, with the weapons that we had, I'm sure Alex would have found someone up the seam in the open coverage. I can't see the rest of the defense in the back, but I think we would have gashed these guys between the hashes on a 4 verts look.
So basically handing it off to you.
Ball that long, Q. I hope you hold the ball that long, BPU.
hey, y'all only what you look like you only rushing 3 or 4 here.
It's 5. We rushing 5. Don't worry about it. We hit. We hot.
We good. We 5. We got it.
I hope you think we rushing 4. Somebody messing up.
All the way. I see.
All right, Maddie, play it.
5 on 5.
Yeah.
So what he does just comes around the edge and
actually y'all got. I mean, Alabama here had what 7 guys blocking the 2 the tight end and the running back blocking and the 5 linemen. Y'all still can figure it out.
But the thing is, they sent the protection the wrong way. So
I don't know where it's coming from.
Oh yeah, we know where it's coming from. Look at you. You keep coming down here. We know where it's coming from. We're sliding the protection that way. He picked up. He dead meat. He dead fish over there.
Well, Q, Mike Wright just commented in saying that they would have that seam locked down.
Yeah, Mike would cover.
Every team said that played us.
I know.
Okay, so that is the end of our scenarios. Something that to kind of further go into this debate is as to which team is the best of all time. Let's just figure it out. If they were to line up against each other, your guys' teams, so it would be 2004 offense, 2008 defense, and the other way around. Let's go ahead and start because I know Sly's antsy here. So why don't we have the Sly's defense going up against Q's offense. So first, Sly, tell us some of the weapons you guys have. We already know Mike Wright was next to you on that defense, but you guys had a pretty stacked D line.
We did. Do you want me to go into what I think about, the 04 offense or
that too? So first, tell us the weapons you guys had and the playmakers, and then how you guys would do against an offense like 2004.
I think the best thing that we did in 2008 was switch from, the traditional 4-3, 2 defensive tackles, 2 DNs to going straight 4 DNs. And we just ended up having Derek Shelby and Greg Newman, which are 2 DNs, play the interior. They were a little smaller, but they were so quick that the interior linemen, it messed it up. So it didn't matter whether you were running the ball or passing the ball. Those guys were pretty stout, and we were so quick on defense that what Alabama does with the powerhouse running, you really couldn't do that because we were so quick to get around things. We would play team defense. We stacked the box because Jodell was so good at coming down into the box and being that extra defender that we would clog everything. And once you bounce Q, Jodell got you instantly, no matter what. Be right or left, Jodell was there. Believe that.
I love safeties. They good meals.
Hey man, a tackle. Jodell will tell you shoelace or stick up. It's all good.
I'm still ain't over here somewhere.
On 08 team, man, we just had talent all across the board. Of course, our 2 interior, Derek Shelby and Greg Newman, were great, but I mean, you guys knew we had Cole Meesey and Paul Kruger, who both had insane NFL careers as well. Those guys coming off the edge, and BJ, I tell you, Cole just put his face on anything. Cole did not care. So that guy hit everybody, anything, and he was flying all around the field all the time. And then you had me, Mike Wright, Keppa, Nye, rotating in at linebacker. It was we were pretty stout on the front 7, and then on our DBs, we had a deep DB section. We had Bryce and Sean, 6'4" corner, so we put him right over Savoy, and knock that down real quick. We would double team P-Dub because he played so many different positions in the 04 team. We locked that down because we had Terrell Cole that came in with the safety nickel combination.
I was actually gonna show you guys this comment. You guys all know who he is.
Got in.
Good old buddy Sean O'Connell.
What's up, Murph?
So he doesn't think that Mike Wright could lock anybody down on the 04 team. I'm wondering. Let's see. And then Mike comments here right after. Before he got my boy Robert Johnson, Q would have ended that boy's career early. You guys have anything to say to that? Q?
We stacked the box.
We actually had a chance to do that when I was in Seattle. We played Tennessee when Robert was on the Titans, and Tennessee's DB coach came up to me before the game and said, kill them all, run them over. I want you to run through their face. So me and Rob had that battle before, and I swear I've never seen a man so quick to dive at some angles in my life.
Hey, that's what I said. Tackle.
So we had that. What that was I want to say 2010, maybe 2010.
Yeah,
against each other.
Hey man, but I mean for the 08 team, we just did a great job with being able to lock down with Bryce McCain and Sean, and we stacked the box. So we made you go over the top, which you guys seen a lot in the 08 season with teams like TCU and BYU. They tried to go over the top, but Robert Johnson was so good in the post that he tried to go over the top. So we forced everything outside, just like Weddle was trying to do in that scenario. And we make everything go over the top, and we had that covered. So we just had talent across the board, man, and it was really, really awesome.
How would you guys stack up against Q's offense in 2004?
Man, I've been thinking about it ever since we were putting this together. Looking at 04 tape, looking at their personnel and how they ran the offense and how often they were in empty and how often we would check out of the blitz we were in and go 5 under 3 deep and only have a 3-man rush. How athletic Alex was. Alex was the third leading rusher on your team. So just knowing that we have great DNs that were relentless like Koa and Paul, we wouldn't make that as easy as Alex had it, I felt like. I don't think he faced athletic the way Paul and Koa was. So I think it would be tight because the 04 offense had a lot of weapons. Madsen came in, you had Latondras, and those are your third and fourth receivers. But, our first game plan would definitely be taking away Paris Warren and what he does and having somebody track him across the field and just knowing where he's at, from doing bubble screens to finding that mismatch on the third defender. Whoever was defending the slot, that's where he lived. I've seen so many passes from that 04 season of Paris Warren over the middle. And that's what's hard, is finding receivers that are comfortable with, getting balls delivered to them over the middle. I don't know. I think that matchup would be amazing if we could actually play that out.
Probably not going to be able to play it nowadays, right?
Flag football.
All right, Q, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you now. Talk about, Sly, mentioned some of the weapons, but just how dynamic your guys' offense was. You guys averaged so many yards per game and just really able to put points up on the board. I mean, you guys outscored your guys' opponents. Let's see. I've got my notes here. Let's see. You guys 544 to 234. So you guys put that many points up on the board and just dominated every game.
And mainly one thing that Sly mentioned was Alex was so good and so efficient with the offense. Like Sly was coming off of the edge. We forced teams really not to blitz us, because if you blitzed us, Alex made you pay for that. And that was a big deal. So teams couldn't blitz us, because if you blitz us, you're leaving something vacant, and it's like a 98% chance he's going to find the vacancy. With the receivers that we did have, we had he mentioned them all, from LT to Mad Dog to Paris to Savoy. And what brought so much value to what Paris was he was fearless. Like, he would go catch balls across the middle. He was a great option route runner. It was do. Then the two backs, you had me, Marty in the backfield. And then we start running the triple because Alex was a viable threat to run it or pass it. I just think it was hard game planning. Like, you didn't get stack boxes, you didn't get different things that teams do to offenses now because want to be run heavy or want to be pass heavy. You really had no idea what was going to happen, because it was so versatile and so many guys that can make plays at any given moment.
Yeah, it just seems like, just a really physical defense with an offense that could do basically everything.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things where, it would be really entertaining to watch this. Now we'll go ahead and go to the flip side of that now. We'll move over to Brian Johnson to talk about the 08 offense and just some of the weapons you guys had and what made you guys so special on the offensive side of the ball.
I think the biggest thing that made us hard to defend, well, first off, is just understanding that the game of football is, each game is its own separate entity. Each season is its own separate entity. And then playing to our strengths, playing to the strengths of the team. I think obviously one of the strengths of us offensively is that at that time we were very balanced in terms of every one of our perimeter players could make plays, and you had to defend everyone. I think once we started to kind of implement, like you said, and you're talking about a period of time where the game of football started to change philosophically. So, once we got into situations where we started to speed the game up and go into no huddle situations where we could play a little bit faster, that really played into our strengths because, like I said, every perimeter player was capable of making something happen. So, I think the last 4 or 5 games of the season, once we started doing that, you saw a ton of production and make us really hard to defend. But at the same time, you play to the strengths of your team, and if you go back and you look at that highlight against Alabama, there's a ton of NFL players on the field. So, we had a great defense, and we tried to really shorten games and make sure that we didn't put those guys in bad situations and let them do their deal.
All right, Eric, you guys had a lot of playmakers on that defense in 2004. Just talk about what your guys' mission and what you guys were trying to do throughout that whole year, where you guys were really dominant, just like the offense was. On offense, you guys were really dominant on defense as well.
Yeah, we had a great group of men, and led by a great coach. So we were really stout up front with Sione and Steve Fafita, and then our edges. You weren't running the ball against us was going to be a tough challenge for the 08 team, and our skill guys on the back end. We played well together. We were a good group. The pressure packages and all this stuff, you can go in and out. Honestly, I think what it would come down to for the teams that match up against each other. I think early on our defense would struggle initially with the tempo, with the formations, with the matchups. They would have some success, and then we'd make some adjustments and try to counterbalance that. But their defense, you're talking about their secondary. 4 guys started in the NFL for a number of years from the 08 team, right? And that's not even talking about Koomisi and who's the other end, Sly?
Paul
Kruger, and then yourself. So they had a lot of talented guys on that defense. And were they a better defense than our defense? Who really knows? Did they have a lot of talented guys that played at the next level? Obviously, they had more than our team. But the deciding factor for me would be that eventually I think Alex would make some plays. I think they're two balanced teams with a lot of great players, and it would be definitely a fun game to play.
So something that Murph just barely brought up. I'll ask you guys the question he just did. He's got to go do his Pac-12 show.
The same one. You just got to take both of them.
But
Let's go, guys.
I mean, how many of you guys would have been starters for the Utes in the Pac-12 conference?
What's that? What's that question?
Right here, Murph brings it in. He has to do his Pac-12 show, but he wanted to hear. Tell him how many 2004 guys and 2008 guys would have been Ute starters in the Pac-12.
All of us.
I agree with you. I think all of us. I go to all the games, so I know firsthand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got. I mean, yeah. Yes. I think that was part of our beauty was that ultimately everybody on both of those two teams were very under recruited, chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, I don't think every player, every starter from those teams would have started now. I mean, not all of them were great on those teams. So we had a good mixture of some good players, some great players, and that's what made those teams so special. I mean, but I think all four of us would. Yeah. And you can go down the line, I mean, and go yes and no, but a lot of guys would transfer over for sure.
Okay. All right. So to just kind of put a wrap on this part of it, BJ, how would you guys fare on offense against E-Dub's defense?
What's that? I couldn't hear you.
How would you guys fare against the 2004 defense? How would you guys fare against them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a solid matchup, for us. I think they were very stout in the middle, but we were stout in the middle as well with Con and Zane and Caleb. And then I think we had really good edges with Zane and Big Red on our edges. So I think we matched up in terms of personnel. I think it would just depend on what type of game we tried to make it. I think truly our strength was being an empty team. And being a spread, no huddle, fast tempo, get the ball out of your hands type team and really wear out the defenses that way as opposed to more of a grounded out, physical, tough in your face downhill run game. I think that, I think playing a more loose style like we did the last 3 or 4 games of the season where we really put up some ridiculous offensive numbers was probably best suited for that particular team. They have some great players on that team too, but I think just in terms of just finding matchups and creating different one-on-one scenarios, because we really had 6 receivers that could go and could do anything with it, from Brent Castile to Braden Godfrey, Freddie Brown, right? Jeremy Brooks, David Reed. So I mean, we had a bunch of guys that can make plays and do things with the ball. So it will be a good matchup, one that'll be debated, I think, in Utah history for a long time. Yeah. And to be honest, I don't know if there is a right answer, but both teams were exceptional.
E-Dub, how would you guys do against that offense?
Yeah, I think I put the score at 31-27 us.
31-27.
I think I already said most of it, but it's just amazing that we've had 2 teams to have the success we did, and it's fun to kind of put ourselves in the position of how we would stop the other team. I think we would have a great plan, but BJ, the second half of the year, really, really played at a high level, and like I said, in 2004, we weren't accustomed to the teams that spread it out and up-tempo at that time. And I'm not saying that Coach Wood wouldn't have a plan after a couple series and make some adjustments to get us in the right spot, but that still could be 10, 14 points we're down, and you have to account into those factors. But two cool stories I'd like to share is the first, that 2008 season, I was in the league. This was my second year, I believe. And every game I would text BJ, like play by play. And every play, whether it was good or bad, I would give him my opinion on what we were doing, calling out the calls, what are we thinking, the halftime adjustments, and literally after every game, he would text me back and go through the majority of the texts, and I just like that was like the highlight of my season in the NFL, because the NFL is just different. Like it's you get some great things out of it, but it's nothing like the relationships you have in college. So I still felt like I was a part of that team, and I felt like I was in the moment with BJ and making, emotionally. And then the second one was
for sure. You get back the game's 200 text messages.
Yeah.
All from Eric.
I get the week of the Sugar Bowl, and I'm talking to BJ. Obviously, I was talking to him all season, and he was telling me all week. He's like, Eric, we are gonna run these guys into the ground. I'm like BJ, for real, like don't be messing with me. He's like, Eric, we got a great plan. They can't match up with them. We're gonna go up tempo. And I was like, are you for real? For real? He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So I went back to my team, and I bet everybody on the entire team, and I came away with, I think, like $3,500, which was amazing money for me at the time. And I took everyone, because everyone was like, Utah, no, they don't got, this is Alabama, this is Alabama. I was like, okay, I got inside info. And I didn't say nothing until after the game. I said, I told y'all, you should have listened to me.
Hey,
so
you should have seen the line at my locker.
Got them boys paid. Got them paid.
Yeah, so it was a fun year to follow and to be intimate with that team, and to still be close. I mean, this is what the Utah family is, and I think it gets brushed aside a lot of times when guys are going through schools, that this school can bring a lot more than just what you do on the playing field.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up here with just a couple of fan questions, because I know I've already taken up enough of your guys' time. This one comes in from Ian Hawkins. He's asking E-Dub, are you thinking of going into coaching?
As of right now, no. I want to enjoy retirement, and I've sacrificed a lot over the last 13 years and dating back to college. So I want to be there for my kids, be at home, not miss anything, not have everything scheduled around what my football season is. Am I going to be home for Thanksgiving? Am I going to be home for Christmas? Am I going to be home for Halloween? New Year's, am I going to be home? Like, that's what we base our life on for the last 13 years. So not anytime soon. When I get the itch to do something, I'm sure opportunities arise, and we'll take it as they come.
All right, and then another question. I guess this could be for all of you guys. What is Utah known for?
Paris Warren in the building.
Oh, Paris Warren. Oh, there you go. One of the all-time greats. All right, so let's see. Let's go through another question here from Brett Johnson. What is Utah known for in the NFL? What is, I guess, the reputation of Utah football to the guys in the NFL?
I have no idea.
Well, I do.
I sure ain't got no idea.
Damn, this is not.
I couldn't tell you, brother.
I talked to a lot of scouts, but what we were known for is guys that come in ready to play. You got the Utah player. You don't have to put as much work and time into them. They're more polished than other players are in the league. I remember at one point in Tennessee, we had drafted more Utah players than any other school at one point. They draft Utah players because they kind of know what they were going to get. Now, these Utah players these days, they're kind of fizzling out. So I don't know what the word is now.
Well, there were 7 Utes who were drafted in this last draft, so probably something to say about those guys.
Yeah, I think that you guys that come out from our program are coached hard, and they're accountable, and they're talented players that you can, like you said, that you can move right in, and they can transition easy or easier than most guys. So I think we're tough, we're smart, obviously talented. You don't play in the league if you're not talented, and you're coached up well. I think we have amazing coaches at the U, dating back to 04 all the way to now. I mean, the way the guys coach these players up and how well they play is really a credit to Coach Witt, to Scally, to Ludwig, and all the assistant coaches that put everything they got into these players. I mean, that's what I love about the program. It's definitely a close-knit group, and they push us to the fullest.
Well, guys, you guys have given me an hour and plus of your time. I really do appreciate this. This has been awesome. Do you guys have any final words? I mean, did we settle this?
No.
Who was the best team?
No.
No? I guess if it actually works for Kobe and Shaq, Stockton and Malone, I guess we can have 2 number ones, right?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
Is there any last things you guys want to say?
I love even being able to have this conversation, man. It's awesome. You know, me even looking at film as far as how we would match up, how we would defend certain players on the 04 squad. I'd be even more excited than I was playing Alabama to play the 04 team. You know, they just had so many weapons. I mean, it's very rare to have, especially back in the 04 days, to have a 2 running back system where that was as effective as Q and Marty was. And then having 4 or 5 receivers that they can alternate and have sure-handed receivers. I think the 08 team, our veteran offense, we had so many seniors on the offensive side contributing and leading that offense. And defense, we had two seniors, I thought. I think it was Greg Newman and Bryce McCain was our 2 seniors. So we were young, hungry, and had a lot of experience. But, you know, just having this conversation is amazing. And appreciate all of you guys for jumping on and sharing your stories.
Anybody else?
I've said
all right.
enough.
Hey, guys.
It's all good. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, hey, it's been awesome. Thank you guys for jumping on. And, you know, I know you guys are all proud, you know, to rep the U. And, Brian, we'll be seeing you in a couple of years down in Gainesville.
Hey, Pete,
for sure.
Across the middle, it's over.
Ready. Hey, them Gators coming. Hey, we coming in 22 now. We're going to be in Rice Eccles.
All right.
Oh, come
Gators
through.
versus Utes in 22.
You gonna wear that Utah shirt underneath your Gator gear or what, bro?
I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah. It's a big decision for you. You got a lot of guys that you are close with.
All right. Hey, guys. Thank you again for jumping on. I truly do appreciate it.
All right.
All right. And that will do it for this edition of the Great Ute Debate. I'm hoping that we at least answered some questions. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. KSLSports.com.